Greetings, everybody. Welcome to AJD Consulting Podcast. I am so excited to be with you all today and this week where we are focusing on how do you manage a heavy workload without compromising on quality. I think this is such an interesting question because it's still a skill that I am learning. And I'm learning because my quality of work shifts depending on my job, my position, what I'm doing, whether it's my business, the topic. Like there are multiple variables that I take into consideration. Not that I ever want to put out anything of bad quality, but I think the word quality is subjective, right? Because my best or my quality work may not look like another person. Or sometimes we're so fixated on being perfect and only doing things when it's exactly how we want it, exactly how we envision it. We have this perfectionism mindset, and we are so focused on that we forget that we just need to publish as is. And then as you grow, you will elevate, you will change, you will upgrade. Just like our phones, every phone upgrades at some point because they released it. They notice there are some things they want to change, and now here's the new update. And I feel like when you're doing any kind of work, you have to keep that in mind as well. Like there are times where sometimes you just need to get some things out. Other times, just submit it and then you will do the updates as needed. Because I'm a doctoral student, my mind sort of also goes to writing, You have your first draft. Like for me, I have a outline and I brainstorm often. Now that I have my first draft, I look at my first draft and that's where I find a lot of mistakes. And then I actually correct those mistakes and then I upload the final assignment. And I feel like I may still miss some things in my final assignment, but it's much better than the first draft. And I'm saying all of this to say that, again, it is subjective because somebody could have read my first draft and been like, this is amazing. But to me, it wasn't. So language, everything we're talking about is very subjective. Also, I think about my productivity times. I know Dr. Martinez-Vu talked about that a little bit in our episode. But understanding your productivity times is very important. Like for me, I'm a night owl. I am the most productive in the evenings. During the day, I struggle. I struggle with getting up early. I struggle with really tapping into my brain power in the morning. So during the mornings, I do more of like clerical work. So I'm responding to emails. I have templates already. So it's not taxing. It's just like, okay, this is routine. Cool. But when it comes to the workload where I am balancing responding to emails, responding to calls, reviewing applications, giving tours, like if I have multiple tasks throughout the day, I feel that I have to be realistic. So to directly answer the question, the way I manage a heavy workload without compromising the quality is to be realistic with the expectations. Because if I am one person doing 10 things, something is not going to get done well. Or at all, for that matter, right? And so I have to advocate for myself and talk to my supervisor and my team and say, hey, I am unable to deliver this, and this by this deadline. May I have an extension? If the extension is no, then I have no choice but to submit what I am able to. And I am perfectly fine with that. That is a lesson that I have learned. The older I get, the more that I am, in my career and being an entrepreneur, all those things, I have to realize that having a to-do list of 10 things is unrealistic. And I refuse to beat up on myself and to question my professionalism just because I'm not doing exactly what someone else expects me to do when they are unaware of all of the responsibilities that I have. It's almost like, how like people only see things from their perspective, right? So for an example, I like to use driving analogies and examples because I feel like most people drive. So you can have a certain perspective. If you're only supposed to be looking forward and you only look back when you're trying to get over switch lanes and all of that, right? If someone in front of you sees something you don't see, you don't need to be behind them honking the horn just because you think the car in front of you is moving slow. No, the car in front of them has an issue. right? But we're so focused on, oh, this person should have did this, whatever, and you're not paying attention to the person in front of you can see something you can't see. They are experiencing something else. And then the person in front of them with the issue has a crisis right now. The tire may have blown out, like whatever happened. But we are so focused on ourselves and we're just not empathetic and compassionate to people. And again, we only see things from our perspective. We only see what, oh, I would have did this, but you don't know what you would have done until you're in a situation. Again, this is why I give a lot of credit to directors and anybody of high level, because the expectations are so high and they are unrealistic in a lot of cases. How are you expected to do your work, but then every 3 minutes you're in another meeting and then people are calling you asking for something, and then people are saying, oh, they didn't respond to my email, oh, they didn't respond to my call. It's like your head is spinning. You're like, okay, wait, I just got pulled into 7 meetings today. That was not originally planned. So what? The expectation is for me to work outside of my scheduled time. So if that's the expectation, that needs to be said, and the hours need to be extended, because we still have to practice self-care. We still have to have that work-life balance. Some people say work-life integration. I think balance for me is better, because you do have to balance it all, because also people's personal lives can be stressful. They can have just as many tasks at home as they do at work. So it is a work-life balance. To me, some things are not always integrated. Some things are completely separate. So I'm sharing all of this to say, sorry, I went off on a tangent a little bit, but I really just wanted to highlight that a lot of people, regardless of their role, have multiple tasks. And sometimes it's hard to switch your brain so fast. So you go from a meeting and then immediately, as soon as you get out the meeting, somebody's asking you a question. And you're like, oh, wait, I'm just still processing the meeting. So sometimes you will have to compromise your best work and whatever that means. And you have to be okay with that. Like most people, I grew up where it was like, you have to work twice as hard, you do your best, whatever. And although I still live by some of it, all of it, I don't. I no longer subscribe to those narratives, because sometimes you overdoing it and then you look around and everybody else around you is mediocre, and nobody sees the behind part. That's the point I'm getting to, is what are the behind the scenes experiences that you have? Everyone sees the final draft. Everyone sees what you present to the world, but nobody really understands the process. Nobody saw you in your office 5 hours after you were supposed to leave, because you're trying to do the best. Now you didn't eat dinner. You didn't call back your family member or your friend that you promised that you were going to call back. Your eyes are red. You're exhausted. As soon as you get home, you just take a shower and go to bed and repeat. Nobody saw that hard work or just what you had to sacrifice in order to produce this quote unquote quality. But if you just still do it in a good way, say if you completed the same task, you didn't put all the big nice words in it, you didn't break it up into paragraphs, it wasn't the most aesthetically pleasing, but it still was enough. If you just did enough, quote unquote, and it was fine, you got minimal feedback, that is fine. That is still quality. So I want us to get out of, again, this perfectionism, this, oh, I'm so afraid of what other people are going to think of me. Yes, what your supervisor thinks of you is very important. But if you ever have questions about your quality of work, ask them for feedback. Because at the end of the day, the people that you need to be pleasing, those type of stakeholders, those are the ones that you should prioritize. What they feel should be your priority. And again, if something is not of quality to them, then ask for that feedback. Ask them what can you do to make it a quality moving forward if you get that opportunity. So all in all, there are multiple variables. I don't think that is one thing over the other, because every organization is different. Every supervisor is different. This might be your last straw to where quality is important. If you're already in a situation where your quality has been questioned before, yes, you do need to put your best foot forward. but also do it in a way that you can still maintain your livelihood and maintain your personhood. We have to learn balance because everything in this life is about balance. Too much or too little of anything is not good for you. So you do have to find that balance and know that you may put a lot of quality and hard work into a large report that's going out to the whole department. Yes, you want that of quality, right? But sending an email or responding back to someone, yes, it can still be professional, but you don't have to spend 15 minutes on an email. You can spend 2 minutes. Also, I think when you are managing a heavy workload, it's important to sort of, what do I want to, not put it into steps, not necessarily a to-do list, but spend a certain amount of time on each task. So at least there's something done on each task. So for an example, okay, I may have a project due today. I may have 3 meetings. I may have a meeting that I have to lead, so I have to create the agenda. So with the agenda and the project, in the morning, I'm going to spend 10 minutes on just brainstorming on what items I need to put on the agenda. Cool. So throughout that first 10 minutes, I write down everything. Cool. I'm going to pause. It's not ready yet. It's just a brainstorm, right? Then I'll go on to my project where I am having my outline. I'm actually putting in content. Cool. I'll pause. I'll check some emails, go use the restroom, get some tea, get some water, come back. Now I'm going back to the project. I'm going to do the next couple sections. Then I'm going to stop because as I was typing the new sections, I thought of something I need to add to the agenda. So now I'm going back to the agenda, finish that up, put that nice, and I'm not going to send it yet because as I continue with the project, something else may pop up. So by the end of the day, your agenda is done. Now your project is done. You've already went to all your meetings. And so I personally found that to be helpful. Yes, you have to shift your brain from going from one thing to the next. Yes, and that is sometimes difficult. But it allows you to at least take a break from something, especially if it's causing you some pain. Say if you're working on something and you're just dreading it and it's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to pause and I'm going to do something else that gives me a little bit more energy. So when I'm done with the energizing task, I can go back to the other one that was draining me with a little bit more energy to get it done, right? And again, when you work on things little by little, that can also mean over a span of time, because if you knew about that project a week ago, you probably should have started a week ago. Even if it's just to write the outline on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, you wrote a paragraph. And then on Thursday, you wrote 2 paragraphs. And then on Friday, you took a break. And then on Monday, you finished it up. And then on Tuesday, you edited it before you sent it in. I'm not saying that we have to look at our jobs like we do school, but in some capacities, we have to understand that all of the skills that we learn in the workplace when we're at school, they all can be applied to each other. Like you're learning these skills for a reason. These also can be applied to your personal life. Say if you have, like myself, multiple passions, you have to learn how to balance your time and know that you have a heavy workload. So what are you going to do? So every skill that you learn in the classroom or at work can be applied to any aspect of your life, and take notes of those things. Know that, hey, I'm really good at this, but in the workplace, I'm not really good at that. So figure out, how do you get better? You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'll give you an example. I know I'm a creative person. Like, I have to have a creative outlet. And sometimes in my work, I'm not able to do that. However, any little freedom I get to be creative, I take full advantage of. I spend time on it because I'm like, oh, I get to be creative. Finally, right? But also, I know that there are times where I'm not going to be able to be creative. And the only way I'm able to get that creative outlet out is in my personal life. And that is fine. You have to learn how to negotiate that. Whatever your job isn't giving you, you have to find other ways for, you have to figure out how to fulfill that. So that is how you maintain a heavy workload. I know I was all over the place, but like I said, and I'm going to keep saying that the quality of your work and the heaviness of your workload, it is going to differ. It's going to be different depending on your organization. Also, how many people are doing your job? If you are one person doing the job of 3 people, hey, quality should not be your top priority, in my opinion. Your top priority is getting things done. They may not always be the best, and that's okay. That's okay. We're not good at everything all the time. We have to remember that. We can't always give 100% all the time. Sometimes you give 40, and that's good enough. Just like we charge our phones up every day because we're using it, or we got apps running in the background, whatever, it needs to be charged, and so do you. So when you were at 100, you were, rocking and rolling, getting tasks off your to-do list, you're scratching them off, checking them off. Great, amazing. But if you keep doing that throughout the day, your battery's going to run down. Your battery's going to run down. So when you know your battery starts to run down, start to do those mindless, easy tasks. When you're at 100%, do those hard tasks, or the ones that will take some time and all of that. So ultimately, you just have to know yourself. You have to know your organization, know yourself, and I think you'll be successful in whatever you do. Ask for that feedback. So yeah. I think I ran my mouth for longer than I wanted to. But I will say I'm still learning this. I'm not perfect at it by no means. And sometimes we just have to get it out and be comfortable with any feedback that comes. And whatever that feedback comes, also remember who's the messenger. Some feedback you don't need to internalize. And also ask for help. Ask for help. Advocate for yourself. And this is for every aspect of your life. So I'm officially done. Thank you so much for coming to AJD Consulting Podcast. Please follow me on all social media platforms. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.